Of course. My corner, going into the championship rounds, they just kept yelling at me, you got to close the show. You got to win the championship rounds, because they're not going to give it to you. You got to win the championship rounds, because it was one round where, I dominated in the scorecards. They gave it to Canelo, and that just changed the whole mentality of the fight. They were just like, all right, you got to go out there and win these rounds. You got to go out there and win these rounds.
Crawford's victory over Canelo wasn't just a battle inside the ropes. It was also a fight against the scorecards. Afterward, Crawford claimed that even while dominating, the judges' numbers nearly cost him the win. His coach, Bernie, echoed that concern, saying from the very first round it felt like something was off. He recalled how the corner grew anxious when early tallies hinted at a 115-113 type of outcome, suggesting the fight could be taken from them. The tension wasn't only about Canelo's punches, but about protecting Crawford's legacy from being undone by the judges. For Crawford and his team, every round became a test of survival, not just in the ring, but against the fear of a robbery that loomed as large as the opponent in front of him.
But listen, so we was worried they'd just give it to Canelo just for nothing. Just give it to him. So we had to, Bud came straight out. Did you see how he went out there and went straight to him? Set the tone?
Right away.
Oh, God.
He never chased him. He never chased him around the ring. Never.
No, Crawford never ran.
No, Canelo never chased him.
Those moments revealed the reality of a corner battling more than just the man across the ring. Crawford's team understood that a single questionable scorecard could wipe away everything he had built. That fear quickly turned into fuel, driving Crawford to press forward and seize control on his own terms. Each exchange became proof that he wouldn't let judges decide his destiny. In that atmosphere of doubt and pressure, Crawford delivered the kind of performance that defined his career. Even respected trainer Robert Garcia later weighed in, noting the weaknesses in Canelo's game and suggesting that, without the judges, his style alone wouldn't have been enough to carry the night.
He's fought the same way the last 4 or 5 fights, enough just to get the win, or maybe the judges to give him the win. Throws one punch at a time, one punch at a time, looks for just that one part, he opens up. That hook he was throwing over and over, reaching in with that hook, keeping his chin up, his right hand down. There's a lot of things that you can't do over and over if you have a good game plan, if you have somebody giving you the right instructions. You can't do it over and over for 4 fights. There's got to be...
Robert Garcia's remarks underscored what many had seen. Canelo wasn't controlling the fight. He was leaning on familiar habits and counting on the scorecards to protect him. It felt like the system was tilted in his favor, but Crawford's sharp adjustment stripped away that safety net, leaving no doubt against either his opponent or the judges. In the end, Bud showed that the truth couldn't be taken from him. Garcia also acknowledged Crawford's unmatched discipline and determination, noting that the doubts surrounding him only pushed him to prepare harder and exceed every expectation.
So, he's very talented. He's a very disciplined fighter also. He's healthy. And, a lot of people were saying, oh, well, he hasn't fought, or he didn't look too good against Madrimov at 154. How can he look good? He's a talented fighter, and that challenge for him pushed him even harder to train harder and to be better. That challenge, went up against Canelo, moving up 2 divisions, hearing that people are saying, oh, he didn't look too good against Madrimov, so how could he look good at 68? Well, that motivated more, man. He trained hard. He did what he had to do.
That perspective highlighted the hunger driving Crawford's performance. He wasn't just battling Canelo, he was silencing every critic. What many believed would be his weakness, moving up in weight, instead became his greatest weapon. The pressure sharpened him into something relentless, and on fight night, he left the judges with no room to deny him. Garcia went further, turning his focus toward Canelo's camp, suggesting that flaws in their business approach and preparation may have created the very openings Crawford exploited.
They've made a lot of money together, and that's what they're all about, the business. I don't think they took the fight lightly, because they couldn't have, but because Canelo, from what I hear, is very disciplined, trains very hard. But I think when it came to the game plan or the instructions, could have been a little bit better.
Angle added yet another layer to the narrative. Canelo's discipline was undeniable, but discipline without the right strategy wasn't enough. The fight highlighted how much of boxing is tied to politics, money, and reputation, factors outside the ropes. Yet even with all of that momentum behind Canelo, Crawford ripped up the script. Veteran trainer Teddy Atlas was blunt in his assessment, saying that from the moment the fight was announced, he recognized just how dangerous Crawford would be in this matchup.
You know, I've been on the wrong side, but it's nice to be on the right side. But I felt like I was on the right side. I felt the way Crawford felt. What people ask me, Teddy, when did you know? When were you were so sure he was going to win this fight? You were saying it, you know, a year ago or more. When did you know that he was going to win this fight? That there was no one else. You said nobody can win this fight, only one guy, and he's going to win it convincingly, easily. When did you know that? And I'm gonna say what I really mean, but also what I understand Crawford said. But I said it myself before. I knew when he signed the contract. when he signed the contract, I knew that Canelo was making a mistake. That he had no idea, like he didn't have an idea what Beaver was. He had no idea. And unfortunately, the judges did the same thing they did in the Beaver fight. They scared the crap out of us. They made us realize they were going to rob him if he didn't destroy him, if he didn't dominate. Dominate! I mean, are you kidding me? He dominated!
Spoke with the conviction of a veteran who had seen it all. He wasn't just predicting a Crawford victory. He was warning that the judges could still turn it into another nightmare. The threat of robbery lingered, making it clear that Crawford had to remove all doubt. It was going to be dominance or disaster, and Atlas sensed that from the start. That's why each round carried the weight of history. By the final bell, Crawford had delivered exactly what Atlas foresaw, a commanding performance that left little for Canelo to claim. In breaking it down afterward, Atlas put it simply: Crawford's control was so complete that no scorecard could deny it.
I'm going to be nice, and I'm going to give Canelo 2 rounds. 2 rounds! And I'm being nice. I'm not being a wise guy. I'm being honest. I'm being a professional. He won maybe. And if you want to make it a shutout, I wouldn't say you were crazy. Because I don't think I'm crazy. Just a little bit angry sometimes because of my sport that I love. That if he doesn't dominate the way he did, they're going to give it to Canelo. The way that one judge tried to make it a close fight against Mayweather many years ago. Are you kidding? The way the Beaver people, in the Beaver fight, I thought Beaver won 10 rounds. They tried to do the same thing. 115, 113? Are you kidding me? Maybe they just don't understand math. Maybe they think that I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they think 115 is 119. Maybe, you know, it's different kinds of, you know, numeral. The way they came up with the numerals, with the math, maybe that's what it is. Maybe, I don't know.
Atlas's frustration ran deeper than the fighters. It was aimed at the sport itself. He reminded fans how easily victories can be stolen when judges distort the numbers. For him, Crawford's challenge wasn't only about beating Canelo. It was about overcoming a system that had robbed others before him. That's why Bud had to dominate every round, leaving no room for doubt. And in Atlas's eyes, that's exactly what he accomplished. It proved his belief that the only way to defeat corruption is through undeniable greatness. Even before the fight, Atlas had told Stephen A. Smith that Crawford was different, not just another champion, but a fighter built on another level entirely.
Stephen A. Smith, I did a segment with him. A lot of people saw it the day before. And, you know, I said, I like Crawford. Like I said, when his contract was signed, when it was, and then he was a bigger favorite. He was a bigger underdog. He was a bigger underdog. He was 2-1 at one point, if I remember
That's
correctly.
Correct. And it closed at closer to plus 135, plus 140.
Yeah. Once people knew who I was picking. I'm kidding. But I I was telling Stephen A. Smith, he said, Teddy, why do you like him so much? I said, why do you like 3D TV more than regular TV? Because it's 3D! Because it's got more dimensions to it. Why do you like digital better than Betamax? I still use Betamax. I gotta tell you, I still got a fax machine, Rich. I do. I got a fax machine. I'm old fashioned. What are you gonna do? But you remember VHS, VHR, whatever it's called, right? All that stuff. Betamax, and then it went to digital. I was the last guy at ESPN, the whole campus, that still got sent VCR tapes. They had to send them to me. I had a cassette player. I put them in. I didn't know how to do digital, but digital, it's the way to go, babe. It's the way of the future. It's faster. It's quicker, right? You got all the stuff in the air, going through the air. That's Crawford.
Atlas's analysis cast Crawford as something rare in modern boxing. Where many fighters are predictable, Crawford offered layers of skill, creativity, and angles that left opponents without answers. Atlas insisted this wasn't a gamble on potential, it was certainty. He recognized traits in Crawford that no scorecard could erase, no matter how biased. His confidence wasn't hype, but the perspective of a trainer who had witnessed champions rise and fall over decades. To him, Crawford wasn't just another top fighter. He was greatness unfolding in real time. When comparing Canelo and Crawford, Atlas was balanced but direct. He respected Canelo's accomplishments, yet emphasized the crucial differences that separated the two.
Today I said, Canelo's a nice, solid guy. He went nuts. Solid! He goes, Teddy, he's Canelo. I said, he's a solid guy. His technique, his basics are solid. His fundamentals are solid. He's strong. He's physical. He's moved up and become, solid at a heavier weight than when he started in his career. He's grown into. He's got great experience. All of that. He's a good, solid guy. I'm not knocking him. In the old days, that was the greatest compliment that the people in my business could give you. Guy's a solid guy. He can fit in with anyone. He knows how to fight. He's a solid guy, but he's not digital. There's only a few guys that are digital.
Atlas's words reflected the balance of someone who recognizes greatness when he sees it. Canelo was powerful, skilled, and experienced, but his style had limits. Crawford, by contrast, seemed to be operating on a higher level, almost digital compared to everyone else's analog. That gap made all the difference. It meant that no matter how the judges saw it, Crawford had clearly separated himself, leaving no chance for controversy. It was the kind of dominance that elevates a fighter from great to untouchable. Fellow boxer Demetrius Andrade later shared his own perspective, admitting that his view of the fight changed as the rounds went on. What he saw explained why Crawford was able to seize control in ways few expected.
Let's see. I figured that at first I was thinking, it's gonna take, a while for that fight to develop in the later rounds. And if Terence can take them shots, he'll be able to, pretty much outwork and move and be able to, hit him with some counter shots. And pretty much that's what it was. At first, I didn't know if he was be able to take the heavier shots, but then I realized, Canelo, yeah, he's a big guy, but he's not really a big guy when it comes to somebody like a Terence who's has reach, has length, in that aspect, and that could put on the size, and also can box. And he did a great job. When you watched it, he did a great job. He kept with a great strategy, staying outside.
Andrade's reflection echoed the surprise many fans felt in real time. Early on, Canelo's size and power looked like clear advantages, but Crawford's reach and precision quickly flipped the narrative. Andrade noted how the momentum shifted once Bud proved he could handle the pressure, turning early doubts into admiration. What began as concern over a possible robbery transformed into a showcase of undeniable dominance. He also praised the game plan Crawford executed, emphasizing the mix of patience, timing, and toughness that defined his performance from the opening bell to the final round.
Kept with a great strategy, staying outside, using his reach, moving when he needed to move. And those moments where he needed to make him count, he made him count because he was able to, because the southpaw, the combinations when he had the chance to let them things go, he did that. He held his ground. He showed that he can get underneath, clinch, hold, and show that he also has the will and power to, keep his ground. So man, he did a great job fighting Canelo.
Andrade's analysis explained why Crawford appeared untouchable against boxing's biggest name. It wasn't reckless offense that carried him, but calculated control punctuated by explosive bursts at just the right moments. He observed how Crawford held his ground, blending defense with well-timed aggression, and systematically pushed Canelo out of his comfort zone. The result was a performance that left no room for excuses on the scorecards, a reminder that true greatness comes from both skill and determination. Andrade also questioned the perception of Canelo's punching power, suggesting it may never have been as fearsome as many believed, adding yet another layer to the ongoing debate.
I'm not saying I don't think Canelo's the hardest hitting puncher out there. My damn self. Like at the end of the day, yeah, everybody can knock somebody down or get knockouts, but we haven't seen Canelo really put people out consistently like a Triple G. You know what I'm saying? Or like a Dimitri Beterbiev. Like it ain't that type of situation. But I wasn't. He probably did. He probably did fight somebody that hits a little harder.
By questioning the danger of Canelo's power, Andrade shifted the spotlight back to Crawford's composure. If the threat wasn't coming from Canelo's fists, then why did the scorecard suggest a closer fight? His comments hinted at the uncomfortable truth many fans feared. The judges, not the opponent, were the real risk. Seen in that light, Crawford's dominance looked even more remarkable. Andrade's take reinforced the idea that this time, the system couldn't shield Canelo. Former fighter Spencer Oliver also weighed in, saying the outcome didn't surprise him at all, as the bout unfolded almost exactly the way he and many others had expected.
It was like we had watched a fight before it happened.
Absolutely.
Because that's the way it went.
In the presence of genius, you don't even know it.
Absolutely. We actually called it. We said, look, listen, that Terence Crawford would build up an early lead, and when he had to bite down, when he had to do it, that ninth round especially, he stood there and showed that he could trade with him and he could take the shots and he could mix it. And the difference between the two was, like we said, Duke, was the combination punching, the ring control from Terence Crawford. They were all the question marks. Could he do that? Could he cope with the power of Canelo Alvarez, who's adapted now and had to adjust in his career? He now throws single shots, and that's why it was the calculated gamble. Well, it wasn't really a gamble because me and Simon called it from the beginning. That we go, Mayweather ticks every department. You go, the only thing that people are hedging their bets on is that Canelo's the bigger guy, but he wasn't really anyway.
No.
You can see because Crawford come down from 185 anyway. You can see the physicality's in there. He was all the size of Canelo.
Oliver's perspective carried the weight of someone who recognized Crawford's greatness long before the opening bell. Every question about power, size, or control was answered in real time, exactly as he expected. What stood out most was Crawford's ability to silence doubts with pure skill and composure, proving this was never about luck. It was mastery on display. For Oliver, the fight confirmed that Canelo's supposed advantages were never enough to alter the outcome. Duke McKenzie echoed that view with sharp analysis, pointing out how Canelo's style actually played into Crawford's strengths and why the matchup was always going to tilt in Bud's favor as long as he stayed disciplined.